Hey gang, Lou here from Jersey Shore Fabricators. Well, got another Colorado in the shop, another lift kit, another day, right? This is a 2016 with 14,000 miles, and it's got the oil burning 2.8 diesel in it. So, we're doing a lift kit? Of course we are, it's Colorado. We're also going to be putting a winch bumper and winch on this. This vehicle is set up for mild overlanding. So the customer uses the truck a lot, does a lot of camping, does a lot of outdoor stuff, and he wants to make sure if he gets himself into trouble, he get himself out. So I'm going to walk you through again how to do a lift kit on this, and then we're going to get into the winch and bumper. He's got a GoFab winch bumper for this. It's an insert that goes inside the grill. Really nice unit. And then he's got a Smittybilt X2O winch that's going on with it. And then we're also going to do a light bar because you got to see what you're going to run into, right? So hang out, grab a drink, let's get started. Alright, so standard stuff just like every other truck we've worked on. There's going to be a 19 millimeter for the upper bowl joint. You're going to take that loose. You've got a 15 for the sway bar, and a 21 for the tie rod end. We're taking all that loose, get that out of the way, so that when you go to unbolt your coil, it comes out. Now the other important thing, before you break something that costs you a lot of money, this wheel speed sensor wire, it's got a 10 millimeter behind the control arm here. There's a Christmas tree here, so take those loose, get those out of the way. Then after that, you can get this out of the way and you won't break anything. Alright, so with the ABS wire out of the way, you come on over here, get after your tie rod end, your upper sway, the sway bar nut that's going to be on there, which goes to a long bolt. Now, when you're doing this, you may find sometimes that the tie rod is trying to get its way out and it's going to start spinning in there. What you could do, just take a jack. If you don't have a long enough jack, put a block of wood underneath it. Press up on here to get this back into its taper. That'll hold that in place. And you can finish running this off. You want to take these off first before you do the upper nut of the control arm, because once that comes loose and everything's flopping around, you're going to have a real hard time. If you get lucky, the bolt that goes through here for the sway bar, the bottom of it won't move. But if it does, this is a, what do we got? I think it's a 15 and a 15 down here. We're getting lucky, nothing's moving, so we can zip that off. Just remember, every tool's got a hammer end. And by the way, don't use a hammer on it without the nut on there, otherwise you'll end up damaging it. Don't worry if this doesn't come out, because you're going to have to take the other side off in order for this to come out before you even attempt to get this coil spring out. Now that all that's out of the way, what you're going to do is get yourself a hammer, some kind of striking device. Right here on the top, that's where you want to hit. That shock will loose this. Do not hit the tie rod from the top, otherwise you're going to be buying another tie rod. Just like that. Now, come after the big guy. And it's the same concept as what you did down here on the tie rod. If this ball joint starts to spin around on you, just get a jack up underneath here and press everything back together. I've used a C-clamp until I realized I could just put a jack under it. But then again, nobody has accused me of being an overly smart guy. So now in my case, the ball joint is spinning in here, so I get a jack, get this jacked up. Alright, still spinning. Plan B. Okay, so plan B was the C-clamp. And it's not cranked down on there. It's not doing a whole lot. It's just enough to hold that taper together to run this down. Now, up here in the Northeast, we deal with a lot of rust. Because this truck has no miles, there's no rust on it. But if yours is particularly rusty, get yourself some liquid wrench, WD-40, coil, whatever whipping you choose to combat oil, and a wire brush. Clean the nuts, the threads up on the stud that's coming out. It's going to make this job a lot easier for you. Like I said, this truck is a pleasure because there's no rust on it. Really not sure how to react. Try not to use a whole lot of BS in the videos. There we go. Yahtzee. All right, and just like that, it springs apart, almost kills you, and, well, now you're ready to go take the other side apart, because like I said, this still has to get out of the way to get this out. So I'm going to go knock out the other side. You don't need to see me do this twice. All right, now, once you get done not killing yourself from this coming apart, my fault there. I mean, it's not going to come off. The axle shaft's holding it in. But, you know, obviously it could be a little scary. Up top, you're going to have three nuts rather. They're going to be 18 millimeter. Down on the bottom here, that's going to be a 21. I highly suggest using an impact on the bottom one. The top ones, depending on your model. I've had Colorados where I can and can't, but you could reach right up through the fender well liner here and get to all of them. If it's easier for you and you have the room, you may be able to go in under the hood, get a ratchet on there, take it off that way. We're just use a regular wrench because, again, new truck, this shouldn't be hard at all. All right, so let's get this out of the way and then we could actually start putting it back together. So, you take out your 3 bolts up top, take out the 1 bolt on the bottom. You're going to wrestle with this, not going to lie to you, but it'll come out. Now, once you do that, the hard work's over. There you go, your lift kit is installed. Now, this kit that we're using is from a company called Zone Off-Road. I've used these a number of times. I like their products. I mean, it's just a puck lift. There's not a whole lot of science behind it. But, you know, they work every single time, they fit. They also include new hardware. Use it. Now, you get to put everything back in. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. And I'll get this wrapped up as I'm going back. You know, we'll go over torque specs for everything and, well, put the truck back together. All right, gang, so never mind the random news coming out from underneath the truck. That wraps up everything. Your upper control arm bolt's going to go to 65 pounds. Your tie rod end bolts are going to go to 95 pounds. And the tie rods are going to go to 45, or, you know, the German torque spec of good and tight. Other than that, put the wheel back on, take it for a drive. Couple of key notes. One, everything you're doing in here does not affect your alignment. The alignment is done through the control arms. 2, when you're putting the upper control arm back in here, you're going to want to get a long pry bar, get up underneath one of the coil springs here, and pull the control arm down into the knuckle. All right, otherwise you're going to be fighting this and jacking it up, ain't going to get it done. Other than that, go out, have fun. Hope you learned something. Until we see you next time, peace.